Hello, Pirate Dave here. It is another Wednesday. It's another new comic book day. It's July 1st, 2026. Halfway through the year, how time flies. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get into some comic books. Up first is Supergirl Survive #2. This is Kara Zor-El, without powers, presumably, as she has escaped the planet Krypton to Krypton's moon. That's all happens in the first issue. Hopefully that's not giving too much away. In fact, it's probably giving just enough away to where if you are interested in the premise, start with issue #2 because all that happens in issue #1. And for me, I thought it was just kind of unnecessary preamble. It didn't really shine the light on anything new or different or interesting. I guess you get to see Jor-El and Zor-El, chat with each other, but you can see in #2 she's going to run into some opposition with what appears to be Zarnians. Zarnians are the race that Lobo belongs to. I don't imagine any of these Zarnians are Lobo, but who knows? It looks like we're going to get a little bit of flashback first. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there because, yeah, okay, so she did just land on the planet in the last issue, so looks like a little bit of a delusion that was happening. And I'm sorry, could I get some? This is written by Ethan S. Parker and drawn by Griffin Sheridan. Or no, it's drawn by Rod Reese, right? Griffin Sheridan is the colorist. I'm sorry, I wish I had some better credits for you here. Probably on the next page, maybe. And see some ads in the back there. Sorry about that. But you can see the credits at the top. This is going to be a 3-issue Elseworlds series, so keep that in mind. And up next we have The Last Starfighter #1. If you're not familiar, The Last Starfighter was a movie from the 80s. It was very cool. It's about a kid living in a trailer park that's really good at a video game, but he feels like his life is going nowhere. Just to find out that video game is actually a recruitment test to join the Starfighters. And if you haven't seen the movie, absolutely watch it. I don't think I spoiled too much with that, as it's really the opening premise. The Last Starfighter #1 from Mad Cave actually continues that story. So it's worth going to watch that movie now because you can start the sequel right with The Last Starfighter #1. And let's get some credits here. Writers are Benjamin Rabb and Derek A. Hughes. I think Ben Rabb wrote a lot of the Phantom comics for Moonstone in the 2000s. I'm pretty sure that's the same writer. Artist is Willie Roberts, and colorist is Francesco Segala. And see right there, Starlight, Starbright. That's the trailer park where the main character of The Last Starfighter broke the record on the video game and was recruited into the Star League to be a gunner on the Gunstar. Very cool. And you're seeing it looks like a little recap of exactly what you'd see in the movie. You see that's the look of the Gunstar ship. A little derivative of X-Wings, let's be honest. But in case you haven't seen the movie, it looks like this is going to reorient you. But you really should see the movie. It's such a classic. It's so wonderful. And then you can enjoy that sequel there. Up next, we have Howard Chaykin's Zorro #2, and this is being illustrated by Jorge Fornes, I believe. I wasn't like blown away by the #1, but I was intrigued enough to give this a shot with the #2 here. The reason why I wasn't intrigued is because the pace of the #1 kind of just was a little too fast. It maybe should have taken a few breaths to spend some more time with these characters. And it kind of just drops you into the story that's going on. And perhaps Howard Chaykin's, perhaps his reasoning was everybody knows who Zorro is. They know what Zorro is about. And that's true. But this is taking place, I believe, in Argentina. So the big question is, well, why is he in Argentina? And maybe it's just because Chaykin had a story that he wanted to tell in Argentina. Like I said, some preamble with that one would have been appreciated. Up next, Red Sonja, She-Devil with the Sword #3. This is the new ongoing well, I say ongoing series for Red Sonja, but they're all minis, right? It's all, whether it's a 12 issue mini or an 18 issue mini, eventually they just reboot the Red Sonja series with a new writer. That's not throwing any shade on it. That's what keeps Red Sonja relevant and new, is new adventures, new conquests coming out for her. And I have been enjoying this series. We got a little bit of a flashback with Red Sonja's relationship with this man with the shield on his nose there, and some implications for the danger that Sonja is in. And looks, look at that 2-page ad spread. Well, I guess it's appropriate to just end on that, right? Although I am interested in what's going on with Angel and Buffy. These are both being written by Kelly Thompson. That's perhaps a bit of a diversion from Red Sonja #3 there, but somewhat appropriate because the next title we have is Red Sonja Noir, The Plunder and the Princess, I believe is the full title. Of course, I don't know for sure until I open up this book, because you can see this is a virgin cover. This is another cosplay cover. This is Molly Stewart. This is another cosplayer that I really enjoy. I really follow her. She's had, I think this is her third Red Sonja cover, and that is her cut hair. I don't know if it's her natural hair, but that's just the hair she walks around with in life. So what an appropriate character for her to portray. And writer is David Avallone, artist is Edson N, colorist Adriano Augusto. And I believe Avallone is also writing the She-Devil with the Sword series. No, sorry, that's Rory McConville is writing the She-Devil with the Sword series. I'm sorry I didn't get credits for that one. I don't know what to expect with this one shot. The last Red Sonja one shot really just felt like a poor adaptation of a classic noir film. I'm told that it was, in fact, a direct adaptation of the Maltese Falcon, which I have not seen. You know, maybe that's a wake-up call that I should have seen it, but this may be another another adaptation of a classic noir film. Maybe that's appropriate, and maybe anybody buying a book called Red Sonja Noir will be expecting that, and they will be satisfied with it. But for me, I don't know. When you can just tell that a lot of elements are kind of forced into the format, it's not a very enjoyable experience for me. It takes me out of the immersion a little bit. I mainly picked up this cover, to be honest, for the cosplayer here, Molly Stewart. So last for the current floppies is Vampirella Summer Special 2026. It is bikini season for most of the comics world. DC and Marvel have their bikini specials. Vampirella wears that bikini all year long. So this is just putting her in that beach setting, but that is her normal outfit, in that sling bikini. I really don't know what to expect from this. This is going to be written by, or story and letters by, Erica Schultz. Okay, Erica Schultz of Daredevil fame. She's been writing the current Daredevil for a while now. Artist, I don't know if she's currently on Daredevil, to be fair. She was also writing the Wolverine, Laura Kinney's Wolverine. And artist is Adriana Mello. See right there. Nice big beautiful splash page with Vampirella right off the start. Taking place in Pompeii, Italy, July 79 CE. We're going to need some explanation for that. Vampirella showed up on Earth in 1969, so we'll see what happened that sent her back in time. It looks like she is, in fact, in Pompeii in July of 2026. She's there right now, in fact. As we're speaking, she's in Pompeii. So that's pretty interesting. The art is cool. Vampirella looks great. She looks sexy. She has a much more mature bone structure, if that makes sense. That's not the same artist for the cover, but you see the comparison. You know, a lot of artists will make her look pretty youthful, but I do like when she has a kind of a aged up facial structure. And also a current purchase, but I wouldn't call it a floppy. This is a little this is a little rough to get into frame. Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, Work in Progress edition. You can see how big this is from my hands. Let me go ahead and put a comic book next to it So you can see the comparison here. So it is pretty big. Sorry, I keep knocking the camera, but that's how big it is. It's just awkward to maneuver around. And of course, this is going to be a penciling and I believe inking as well. Black and white, big treasury sized, I guess you could say, version of Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. So that'll be the second reprint of the Woman of Tomorrow I've gotten in this week, because I got the I got the AMC exclusive variant for seeing the movie. But I did want to share this note on the inside cover here from Bilquis Evely, the artist of Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. It is Bilquis. Bilquis is how she pronounces her name. She made mention of that specifically. Bilquis Evely, not Bilky as is mentioned in the movie. Anyway, here's the note. Let me go ahead and read it if you're not inclined to read it yourself. While searching for the second files of Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow #1 to prepare for this book's release, I began to recall the feelings I had and steps I took during those early days when I first started developing my work on the project. I vividly remember the joy I felt when I first read the brief pitch for what would become this miniseries. At the time, I was on a break, pondering what would come next, and Tom's idea for the book was precisely what I was looking for. Before working on Woman of Tomorrow, I spent 3 years on The Dreaming. In that book, I had to push myself to the limits of my creativity, and every single panel was a challenge. Supergirl seemed like a great follow-up to keep stretching my imagination, and quickly many ideas began to bubble up in my mind. I remember sending Tom an image board, collecting multiple pictures to represent the mood and atmosphere I wanted to convey in the book. A small collection of paintings, photos, and sci-fi pulp covers to let everyone involved know that what I had in mind. As for my art style itself, I focused on clean and long lines, aiming to evoke a romantic and almost dreamlike feel. I began working on the first issue back in October 2020, and now seeing these black and white pages brings a smile to my face. So many things have happened since then, but I still remember what it was like in the beginning. All the joy and doubts about where those pages would lead, the butterflies of creating something completely new to me and to the world, the true feeling of creativity which I love so much. And all went well. Bilquis Evely. Sorry if that was a mouthful, but I did want to share that note on the inside cover because it was a touching moment from an artist that has really just wowed us all. No matter what you feel about this story and Tom King's writing and all that, I think that almost universally we've all agreed that Bilquis Evely's work has been unmatched, unparalleled, a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Lastly, for my comic books, I have a collection of Phantom covers. This is Phantom #1. This was released last year, so this is not a new comic book. This is just a new variant that a Australian retailer had an opportunity to purchase and sell to people. So I'm just sharing it with this because I got 3 versions of this cover. This is the regular trade dress version. Here is the foil version. Look at that, especially on that logo. I just love that mirror shine on it. And then we have the metal version. Metal! Oh, that's so cool. This cost more money than I care to talk about, especially shipping it all the way from Australia, but it was very cool. I wanted to share that very quickly, super quickly, in fact, because I have one last thing to share. Now let's see if I can find it here. Here it is. Magic the Gathering Marvel Superheroes Collector Booster. If you're not familiar with Magic the Gathering, it is a trading card game, and it has recently had a Marvel expansion. Magic is a premier trading card. It's one of the top trading card games in the world. And they've been doing these special expansions for a while now. The last special one I remember was Final Fantasy. They did one for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as well. I think that one actually followed Final Fantasy, or was after it at least. And now they've done one for Marvel. And so just to sort of jump on the little bandwagon and say I, participated in the experience, I got a collector booster. Now they have regular boosters, which are $7 a piece, at least at my local comic shop. This was almost $50. So apparently it's supposed to have more premier cards in it, more chances at like foils or alternate art editions. And I figured if I was going to get one booster, I would get one that was, really cool and something that I would remember and, really have a lot of fun with. So this is not super easy to open. I did not know how difficult it would be. Looks like it's coming now. So we'll see what we get. I am somewhat experienced with Marvel, or I am somewhat experienced with Marvel. That is true. I am also somewhat experienced with Magic. I've since played the Magic the Gathering Arena online, so I know a little bit about how the game is played. Maybe I'll be able to comment on these cards, and they already feel like they're pretty cool. Pretty cool like material. This is Pastrana, so this is just a art card. And I did collect a couple of art cards previously last year. I bought the Final Fantasy VIII scene box. I'm not familiar with Pastrana. I'm gonna admit to that. So don't exactly know what's going on there. And right off the bat, it looks like we're getting some foil cards here, but this is just a land. It looks like Fisk Tower. And up next we have a Kree Sentinel. I think that's another foil card. Each basic land cycling. I think land cycling might be, okay, discard this card, search your library for basic land, reveal it. That's land cycling. So Stark Industries, this is another land, but a blue-red land. Falcon's Wing Harness, that's cool. When this equipment enters, attached to a target creature you can control. Target creature gets +1/+1, has flying. Killmonger, Scourge of Wakanda. And that looks like the Killmonger from the Black Panther movie. So that's pretty cool, right? I think they might say at the bottom, because the Final Fantasy ones did. Okay, they don't. The Final Fantasy ones had like which Final Fantasy they were at the bottom. So I assume that these cards will come from all sorts of Marvel stuff. Like that's Falcon's classic costume, which we never see in the movies, but this is the Killmonger from the movies, I think. At least I don't know. Did they do a Michael B. Jordan Killmonger in the comic books? Maybe you can comment. Everybody else is just yelling to keep pulling the cards. Armed Assailant, Death Touch. That means that means if it hits, it kills. Anything he hits, he kills. Thwip. A little sound effect for Spider-Man's web shooting. Target creature gets +2/+2, gains flying until the end of the turn. If it's a spider, you gain 2 life. Goliath, Mass Manipulator. Of course, I believe we did see Goliath in one of the Ant-Man movies, right? Although he didn't have his powers or anything, we just saw the character that becomes Goliath. Is that true? Giant Man? Take up the shield. Put a +1/+1 counter on a target creature, gains lifelink and indestructible to the end of the turn. That looks like a borderless card. I think those are special variants that this does. Basic land, swamp. And again, I think this is like an alternate art that they do for lands. Wakanda's Vision. That's the Scarlet Witch in the background there. Hawkeye, Avenging Archer. That's just a regular, but it's like an alternate border. You see, it doesn't have like the same the same graphics that the other cards do. Might be an alternate art though. I wonder if that they would make that the main art for Hawkeye. Storm, Wind Rider. Creatures with flying can't attack or block creatures you control. Ah, wow. Creatures with flying can't attack or block creatures you control. Man, that really destroys flying decks there, huh? And Fiery Emancipation. Again, this is like a borderless, completely borderless. There's no graphics or text on the text box or anything like that. I don't know how rare these are or anything like that. So just a heads up. And then this looks like Armor Wars, and this is another foil there. Enchantment Saga. And if this is like the other versions they've done, you can pay costs, or card effects move you into the next panel, I imagine, is how this works, and you get these abilities that are on here. And that's it, man. I don't know if any of those were super rare. I don't imagine they are. Maybe the only ones I would guess are probably usually very rare are like the character cards, right? Like Storm, and maybe it's an alternate art card, maybe Hawkeye, all that. Hopefully that was fun. This video went to 20 minutes. I did not expect that, but I did want to share those magic cards right at the end. Hopefully you had a great new comic book day as well, and you're having a great week. I will see you next time. Bye.